2025, it's showtime, folks. Welcome in. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game here on this Thursday. Happy New Year. Hope you had a wonderful New Year's Day and a safe New Year's Eve. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are down in the Big Easy in New Orleans, thinking about those affected by the senseless acts that took place early yesterday morning. So, we're obviously continuing to keep an eye on things down there and thinking about everybody connected to NOLA and our country. And the Sugar Bowl, of course, got postponed. It will be this afternoon. You can hear it right here on 1025, 1063 The Game, and on 94.9 The Fan. So we will have you covered there.
Hey,
What's up,
man.
JoJo?
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
I echo those sentiments. It's awful. And, you know, what's terrible is that we all have few friends down there in New Orleans. And
yeah.
It was just the unknown at 3:15 in the morning, and then panic. You know, I have friends, parents who have kids down there and didn't hear from them, and everything was okay, thank God. But man, just awful. And I saw some brushback yesterday about pushing back the Sugar Bowl. I'm like, it's just 24 hours.
They did the right thing.
It's just
They did the
24
right
hours, right? It's not they're pushing it back to June. Absolutely did the right thing. So
yeah, look, was I bummed because I was like everybody else. It was enjoying the day of football and was going to sit at home and watch that game last night. And sure, but I understood. And it was a very quick, like, okay, I get it. I think it was the right move for obviously the city of New Orleans, the people that work in the Superdome, because at the time there were still concerns about the safety of the dome.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And the people that work in and around the Superdome. The players, the coaches, the teams, you know, they were basically locked down in their hotels, you know.
Right.
And then you don't want that extra thing weighing on them. So it's one day.
And then you have 75,000 people pouring into the Superdome.
Yeah.
Before and after. And so just let them break, you know, just get them time to get things together and do that. The video of the officers on Bourbon Street when they realized what was going on. Have you seen this? When they take off at a full sprint, there's like 20 of them. I hate that they had to do that, but that just shows you the power of the men and women in the police force across America. They don't ask questions.
No.
Did they ask if you're a Democrat or Republican?
No.
Did they ask if you're black or white?
No.
They just took off running, right?
Yep.
So God bless the men and women of police departments around the country, especially New Orleans. Thank you for that. It was just unfortunate all that.
Yeah,
happened.
and look, I mean, I echo that. I mean, we got a great crew here in Nashville with Metro and that watch after us, and they don't get enough credit. You know, I try when I'm downtown, especially, which is rare these days, but when I am and I'm walking around and I see an officer, I just say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, it doesn't take much to do that, and you know.
We come in here and we talk sports and we have fun. We try to lift people up. Imagine going to a job every day where your life is truly on the line.
Yeah.
It's hard to comprehend that. So again, God bless them. And then they'll play football today, and the thoughts and prayers you said with everybody down there. It's just awful that, but we're here for 2 hours to make you feel good today.
We are
ready for 2025. New year, new you, right?
Yeah, new year, new. Hey, we're here for at least 2 hours every day.
God, and we're not going to ask you resolutions. Some shows in the town, not at here, our station, like, what's your resolution? Don't make any resolutions.
So you're
make goals.
You're gonna be proud of me.
Yes,
because I always did resolutions because it was like one of those things that you just always did. After one of your speeches on that, I'm like, nope. And I have goals.
Yeah,
I have goals for 2025.
Yep. Don't
I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm going to lose 40 pounds because the odds are I'm probably not.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
But I'm
smart.
going to. The goal is to be in the gym more and to work out more, but I'm not putting some ancillary number on it because you're not going to achieve those.
Well, first of all, I don't know what ancillary means, right? Dr. Crane, big smart guy.
Hi, Dr. Crane. Happy New Year.
I don't know what that means. Happy New Year, buddy. No, but just don't tell anybody. Just go about your business.
Exactly.
Go, as I tell people, go to the gym.
Not everything needs to be on social media.
No. And as I say always, don't announce moves, confirm arrivals.
Yeah. That's good.
That's how I have to get it in. All right, I'm going to do this for 25. And you don't know this. You're the boss, but I'm going to throw this out here. Questions in our first segment.
People question that daily. That's fine.
I don't. So here's a question, Dr. Crane. I'm going to ask you two first. And our audience out there, we love our audience to weigh in on this. If you are a Vanderbilt or Tennessee fan or an SEC fan Are you rooting for Georgia tonight? I got a problem with this.
Boy.
I got
Oh,
a problem with
boy.
this. If you are a Tennessee or Vanderbilt fan, are you rooting for Georgia tonight? And if you are, I want to know why.
All right, could this have applied to Texas yesterday? Now that Texas is in the
Yes.
SEC.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because what was funny is I was watching the game with my mom, and when Arizona State started coming back, by the way, Scattaboo, like that's a household name now. I mean, and just
Love it.
the look on that. I mean, he's throwing up on the sidelines and
Right.
like
Getting
that's
mad at fourth down. He didn't get the first down.
that's a wild animal right there. I love that guy.
Wild animal.
But watching that game, my mom was like, "Who are you for?" I'm like, "I don't really care, but now I'm kind of pulling for Arizona State because this is fun. Like
Right.
this is kind of a fun underdog." And she's like, "Well." My mom's rationale is always, well, we have family in Texas. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Does your mom hate kickers too?
No, she loves everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that Texas kicker, my goodness.
You know what was funny? So they showed Steve Sarkisian. And by the way, I do like Steve Sarkisian. He is, I think, it's a great story how he's, turned his life around.
Yeah,
He's a great coach and all that stuff. So love Sark, as they call him. If Nick Saban can call him that, so can I.
All right.
But they showed him like talking to the kicker, pumping him up. And I said, like, as they're showing them, like, oh, he's about to miss this.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like you just knew.
Oh my!
You just knew.
And then he did. Because of the failed 2-point conversions to win games, no coach is going for it anymore. They're out. They're going to get overtime and let it happen there. It's going to happen.
I'm telling you though, and I heard Jesse Palmer say it too. I heard SVP say it last night. Get rid of this 2-point conversion. I know it didn't really get to that with the overtime yesterday.
I'm with you. I know where you're going.
Go back to the old way. You can eliminate kicks. That's fine. Like if you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2. I don't have a problem with that. But none of this gimmicky BS crap. By the way, if I was a coach and I knew a kicker had to go make a big kick, I would look at him and I would say, don't effing miss. Yeah. I would just do that.
Absolutely.
Except I wouldn't say effing.
Just kick as hard as you can. See it going through, and we're going to celebrate afterwards and get it done. But again, I'd like to know, because I've heard some in the last day or so, like, oh, well, SEC, and Georgia. I was like, if you were a Tennessee or Vanderbilt fan, you want Georgia to get their butt handed to them tonight. You just do, right? I don't understand conference number 1 go. I mean, that's a bitter rival. I always had that, when Alabama fans or Tennessee fans in Alabama would go like, well, because they beat us, it makes us look better. No, it doesn't. They beat you. It doesn't make you look better at all.
No.
Stop that. So I'm just curious why you are rooting for that tonight. So I don't know.
I'll tell you this. There's a team in Columbus, Ohio that basically they said F around and find out. And
we won't run. They fired because he can't beat Michigan. If they go 1-11,
yeah.
As we hear from Ohio State,
they did a hold my beer.
Yeah, right.
For the last 2 games. I mean,
FAFO, baby.
Yeah, that and what was funny is like I saw the line last night against Texas. Ohio State is a 5.5 point favorite, and I think it opened at 4.5, and it had moved to that point. And I haven't even looked today. And I texted Ricky. I was like, man, 5.5, hook him. Take that. And he goes, buddy. I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but he goes, Ohio State's about to send Texas packing. Like
Texas.
Right. It's basically a home game.
Yep.
It's in Dallas or Arlington. I watched that game and I kind of thought about it more last night. Ohio State is like, they're on a mission.
They are.
They are more determined than I have ever seen any team in my life.
They are. I need you to talk me off the ledge. I'm somewhat small rooting for Penn State. I need you to talk me off the ledge.
Because of him or just because?
I just like the team. I like that tight end. I like the quarterback. I like that offensive line just mashes people. I hated that it's coached by James Franklin, but what are you going to do? I kind of like that team because everybody forgot about him, and they just line up and mash you. And so I like teams like that. And whoever wins this game tonight, Georgia and Notre Dame facing Penn State in the Orange Bowl, I mean, this is great. You got the 4 probably best teams in the country going to
Yeah.
end up facing each other.
Oh yeah, look, it's going to end up working out how it was always supposed to work out. I think. I mean, I know
Always does.
the seedings were whack, and they're going to fix that. I think it's a pretty much a foregone conclusion that they're going to get rid of this whole just because you win the conference, you're a top 4 seed thing. Like they need to get rid of that. Just seed the 12 best teams and be done with it.
Pretty simple, right?
But I do think that it's going to end up, working out how it's supposed to work out. But I'm kind of with you on Penn State. Like I'm kind of pulling for them.
I don't know, and we've talked about our dislike of James Franklin on this show because of past experiences with him here in Nashville.
Well, but at the same time, we've talked about like those past used car salesman experiences, but at the same time, that's kind of what Vanderbilt needed at that point in time.
Oh, it is. Oh, it totally is.
Like he annoys the crap out of me, and did then and does to this day. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, kind of, those were good days. And like, I'm hoping now, like, I haven't been this excited about Vanderbilt going into another season than I was then.
I'm with you 100%. Jeff says, text me, hey, what if I just absolutely hate Notre Dame more than any other team? Is it okay if I wrote for Georgia that I'm a Tennessee fan? It's a good question.
So that reminds me of something. So back in 99, January of 99, I went over to my grandmother's house to watch the national championship game between Florida State and Tennessee.
Okay.
So she had a really good friend named John Chaffin. For those of you in the Bellevue area, Chaffin's Barn.
Keep dropping names.
Yeah. So great man. And they were over at my grandmother's house. And he had me in stitches laughing because he had a shirt that said UT, the only team I hate more than Notre Dame, or something like that. And so he was for Florida State, because I was like, why are you for Florida State? And he was like, I hate UT because he Vanderbilt and all that stuff. And so it kind of reminds me of that, of like, what if you just absolutely hate a team? And so it's like, you pull for one or whatever. I guess that happens. And I've probably been guilty of that too. When I watch a game, I typically pick a side, but like tonight, I don't care. Like tonight, I really don't care.
No, I don't.
I just want to see. I just want to see a good game.
Yep.
Like I don't, just like yesterday with Texas, Arizona State. Like, because these playoff games have been so bad that I just wanted a good game, and so that's kind of what I want tonight.
I'm with you, and it'll be fun. And there's a lot of storylines tonight. The Georgia quarterback who they love that team. They love that kid. It's like, we hadn't played any. Well, he led them on a game-winning drive.
I love the story that they're telling that, Carson Beck shows up in a $300,000 Lamborghini or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And this dude's driving like a 95
F-150.
Of like that's a Georgia quarterback right there.
Oh, that's great.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It is a new year, new you. Our question of the day is, if you're a Tennessee or Vanderbilt fan, are you pulling for Georgia, or are you pulling against Georgia? 615-737-1025. A lot of you have weighed in. We'll read some of those answers. John McClain going to join us today at 10 o'clock. Of course, we will get you set up for the barn burner of a football game between the Titans and the Jags that will end, thank God, this season on Sunday. It's Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Thursday. Happy New Year. John McClain will join us at the top of the next hour. Taking your calls and texts at 615-737-1025. Our question, if you're a Tennessee or a Vanderbilt fan, are you pulling for Georgia tonight? Few texts coming in now. Jordan in Nashville. We'll be rooting for Georgia because I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I will not root for them beyond this round. I also rooted for Texas, but it's because they're a new team to the conference and a new contender for the championship. Ugh. I'm with you. So you're pulling for the conference?
You think A&M fans are rooting for Texas to go all the way because they're in the SEC?
Hell no.
No, they're not. Look, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just curious why you think this way or that way.
Nevada Josh, I'm going for Notre Dame, but coworkers are going for Georgia, saying since UT is out, they just want the champions to be from the South, no matter what team it is.
Nevada Josh, I love you. That's great.
Patrick, I'm a huge Syracuse fan, and our rival is Notre Dame, and I want them to lose by 1 million. Great show as always. Thank you, Patrick. Matthew in Nashville, hell no, I don't root for other SEC schools in bowl games. I'm a VFL through and through. I agree with you two that older SEC fans like my dad who cheer for other SEC schools in bowl games because they think the money is good for the conference drives me crazy.
Call your dad out, Matthew. Call him out.
That's a good one. Mike in Lebanon, I support the SEC because the rest of the country and mainstream media is against it, but I do hope Alabama stinks for 20 years.
Mainstream, Mike, come on. The mainstream media doesn't even know who SEC is.
Yeah, well they do. Care. I love there's a guy I've muted on Twitter that doesn't even use his real name. He uses some stupid baseball card company or whatever.
Right.
But I did happen to see that he tweeted us, was like, waiting for you guys to say I was right. I don't even remember what you were complaining about, but
yeah, right.
There you go. You got your 5 minutes. What's in Clarksville? Not supposed to root for a team in the same division conference, but yes, I'm rooting for Houston Texans on Sunday. Wonder why. By the way, I thought about this morning. I'm going to give you my logic. This is called Chase Logic 2025. The Titans should be at least locked into the second overall pick because the Titans season is done. The Titans aren't playing on Sunday. The Oilers are playing on Sunday. Okay. So I feel that should actually count as a loss for the Titans, and therefore this is all done.
I see what you're thinking, where you're going with this, and I don't like it because it confuses my head.
You don't think that's going to go over well?
No, I just
I'm just saying there were the Britches report, according to our buddy Jimmy Wyatt, is they are wearing the Oilers uniforms. Miss Amy picks those out, as we have been told. And so if they're the Oilers, then the Titan season is done.
Have you seen the potential weather forecast for Sunday?
Yeah, like a wintry mix. It's that time, folks. It is that time.
Here we snow again. There might not
snow away.
If it hits like some thinks it might hit late Saturday night, there might be 100 people at that game.
If that.
And
those will be friends and family or the people that work there.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to say this. There's going to be people that are going to agree with me. There are going to be people that are going to tell me I'm terrible. But just give me one good, 10 inches to a foot of snow. Just let's just shut it down one time. Let's just have the kids out of school 3 days. It could even bump into a weekend. If it happened on a Thursday, had a long weekend, just give us a one good snow and then be done with it. I'd be happy.
I am with you. You weren't even born yet, but February of 1988 was one of the best.
I actually was born.
Were you born?
I was one.
What year were you born?
87.
Okay. It was February and January of 88. We had two massive snows that happened. I mean, just 8, 9, 10 inches each time. And it was unbelievable. It was so much fun. I need that again.
Yeah.
For a week. I mean, all we did was go sledding.
Remember 2003? I was a freshman in high school, and they knew snow was coming, but they didn't really know the track of it, and they didn't know how much it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so all the schools opened. All the schools were like, oh, okay, we'll be fine. It'll be this afternoon. Literally, I'm sitting in first period, and so it's 9 o'clock, and I look out or actually it's before 9 o'clock. And I look out and the snow is just coming down in buckets and it's piling up. And I remember my teacher kind of going like, "Uh-oh." Like this is and then they come over the intercom at saying, "Hey, we are dismissing at 9 o'clock." Um, and nobody could get there.
And your teacher's like, I'm stuck here with all these rich snob brat kids.
Basically,
No,
pretty
you get
much.
out of here.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was at
It took my mom's school let out. She had to come get me because my grandparents, she didn't want my grandparents to come. Usually they would have been the ones to
Yeah.
pick me up because I wasn't driving yet. And she had to come get me. It took us she finally got there probably afternoon, and we got home at like 2 or 3. But it was like we had fun. I got in trouble. Me and my buddy got in trouble because we went outside and had a snowball fight.
at FRA.
Yeah.
I bet. Tell me you were standing at the pickup line with your backpack on and your oversized jacket waiting on your mom. I picture that right now.
Actually, yeah, I think I was. Just kind of stood it. I was just standing out there.
Well, the worst we've ever had it was the '94 ice storm. You're probably way too young.
Oh, I remember it.
That
Yeah.
was
We had to go to school on a Saturday.
That was awful. The '94 ice storm was the worst thing that I've ever experienced. I'm okay with snow.
Yeah,
I'm
but
okay
the
with
ice
snow.
storm, yeah.
That was awful. It was absolutely awful. And that at that point, I was a bartender, and for like a week and a half, I made no money
Yeah.
because nobody got out and did anything. And power lines were snapping. It was awful. That was the worst. Give me 15 feet of snow over 1/8 inch of ice.
So my grandparents that live over the Charlotte Pike area had no electricity. My mom and I that lived in Bellevue had no electricity. I think my dad did, and my uncle who lived in Green Hills never lost electricity once.
Of course not. It's Green Hills.
Yeah,
Right.
and he had a condo in Green Hills, and so my grandmother and I went and stayed with him. The funniest
During
thing
this ice storm?
yeah, during the ice storm.
Oh, man.
The funniest thing I remember about that is we're at my grandparents. We got the fireplace going, no electricity, and my grandfather like was very, never cussed anything like that. And I hear him just going like, "What this stupid thing?" And like he's kicking it. And I walk into the den, and he's got the vacuum cleaner, and he can't get it to turn on.
Oh, my Lord.
And I'm like, "What's wrong, Pop?" And he goes, "This thing won't work." And I go, "Well, we don't have electricity." And he just kind of stops and he looks at me and he looks back at the vacuum and he just just kind of puts it back up and walks out of the room.
Oh, man. Pop.
It was the funniest thing.
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For those that have been here a while,
But let me
you
ask
remember
you,
it.
7-year-old kid stuck in the house.
Yeah. It was,
You had no phone anyway to do anything. What did you do?
I
Did
don't
you have to read?
remember. Yeah. I mean,
Comics?
probably.
You have like a Game Boy?
I think that was finally why we went to my uncle's because he had TV and everything.
Yeah. As Homer Simpson says, TV, it's the best babysitter.
It really is. It really is. 615-737-1025. There's a decision that was made in the NFL yesterday that some agree with, some do not. I'm curious of Joe's thoughts on this. We'll do that.
I like this.
Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game. Jason Big Joe broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your new year, to your day.
New you, new me, right?
Or something like that.
No resolutions, only goals, my friends.
615-737-1025. I'm nervous to do this, but Clay is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Hello, Clay. Happy New Year.
Uber Eats is here, boys.
What does Uber Eats have for us?
Krispy Kreme.
Oh,
that's so good. Thank you, Clay.
I'm glad you were actually paying attention this time.
You know, guys, seriously, back to Friday. I honestly, I did not know I was on the air. I really didn't. I was somewhere in North Alabama. By the way, we stopped at Buc-ee's on the way down in Athens, and we get back on 65 South. And if either one of y'all are familiar with 65 South, right through the border there, when you're coming to Decatur and you go over the Tennessee River, and there was a horrible wreck, and Way said we were going to be sitting in traffic for an hour. We have to detour, and to make a long story short,
Please.
5 minutes before kickoff, I sit in my seat. So a 5 to 5.5 hour drive to Birmingham, just to watch Vanderbilt kick some booty. So
that's worth. I mean, I'm
good.
sorry about your wreck, man, but that was again, sorry, but to get there and see your team that you love do that had to be a great feeling, Clay, right?
It was an awesome feeling, Big Joe. Just like when I talk to you, is an awesome feeling.
Oh, this is great.
Appreciate that,
Clay. Thank you so much. We will send somebody down.
Hold it real quick.
That was seriously. I was embarrassed, quite frankly. You know, when I figured it out. But
that's okay.
Once I listened to it, what was the funniest thing about it was when because I saw the video of it, and you just laid your head on the table, Joe.
Pretty much.
And you were laughing so hard, and then the screen goes blank, and it goes, "Beep," like somebody had a heart attack. God, that was funny.
All right. Well, we love you, man. And Dr. Crane's going to come out and get the donuts, and we got something for you, too. All right. So don't go anywhere.
By the way,
oh Lord,
let me say this.
Okay.
I'll second what you said, Joe. It's awful what's going on in this country, guys.
Yep.
You know, now we've got idiots, you know, killing people, running over people that affect college football playoff games. But there are more, you know, and that all I can say is God bless America. And it's great to be an American. It's great to live where, you know, I'm free. And I second that. The work the police do, and obviously police did some things down there, but the work the police do, you know, I appreciate it for one. It's a job a lot of people wouldn't want.
Yeah, you're right. Amen, brother. Hey, thank you, Clay, man. New year, new you, buddy. 2025. We're all going to be buddies.
Love you, Big Joe. Love you, Chase.
Thanks, Clay. Anchor down.
Anchor down.
Clay joining us here on the program, and always appreciate his calls in. And I guess we got donuts, so appreciate that from Clay. Clay is a good man. That is for sure.
Can't wait. We got something for Clay too for his being a friend of the show. So all good there. All right, you had a question for me.
I did. The news coming out that Nick Sirianni has decided he's going to rest his starters for the Eagles. As Saquon Barkley is basically, I think 101 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's record. He has surpassed 2,000, so he's joined the 2,000-yard club. Did that last week, but electing to sit Saquon and the rest of the starters. Do you agree or disagree with that decision?
What's the goal of every NFL team?
To win the Super Bowl.
So he goes out there this weekend and blows his knee out in a meaningless game, right? Not saying it's going to happen, but if he does.
Bingo.
Saquon Barkley is that rare player these days where it's like, all right, we've got to where we are. Let some of the guys get in and play. We have bigger fish to fry.
Yep.
I get individual records. I get all that stuff. But I'm telling you, man, Chris Sanders tells us all the time, He focused on individual things more than team, and it hurt the team and hurt himself. When he realized he's part of a team, great things happen. So I'm with Saquon Barkley all the way. I think it's a great decision not to play him. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I hate it because it sucks because it's such a cool record. And, it's one of those records we never thought would be broken, and it may never be broken. But I thought they played a soundbite of Saquon when asked about it. And he said, look, coach came to me, kind of asked my thoughts on it. I said, it is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool record. I'll probably never have an opportunity to break that again, but I want to do what's best for the team. Our goal is to win a championship. So I support whatever decision you make. He basically is like, you tell me to play, I'm ready to play. You tell me to sit, I'll sit.
Right.
And I thought that was the right answer. I mean,
Amen.
like, and it stinks because it would be really cool to see. I know I was reading on Twitter that the offensive line was really pushing that they wanted him to get it and they wanted to play. But for the good of the team, for being one of the best teams in the NFC. I mean, all practical purposes. I mean, I know Minnesota, but Detroit, Philadelphia, Minnesota, those are the three, best teams out of the NFC by far. I know a lot of things can happen, but I think you have to protect your season. You have to protect your team. And so it ultimately, while it stinks, it is the right move.
All right. So coming back, I have a question for you off of this. All right. And this has inflamed a lot of people because they are hard one side, hard the other side. If he broke the record, I say there needs to be an asterisk by the record. Fine. And here we go. People are like, well, I don't know, because
17 games.
He did it in less carries than Dickerson had. I get all the arguments. I get all of it.
That's why I'm glad with 2000. And I know, OJ did it with 14. I recognize that. But I'm glad with 2000 he did it with 16 because the majority of the people on that list did it in 16 games.
Yep.
I think is OJ the only one that was?
I think so, because Dickerson did it in 84. OJ did it in 73, maybe. So I think so. If I might be wrong on that.
Because they went to 16 in like 80
something.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think football-wise, what OJ did in 14 games on a crappy Buffalo team is the most impressive running back feat of all time. Yeah. That's just me. But, I mean, Dickerson had 2184, I think it is. So I don't know, but I still, and someone's like, well, it should have been an asterisk in baseball for Maris and Mantle and all the, yeah, I think there should. I just think Roger, who did it in 154 games, Babe did it in 154. I think for future reference, we need to have that asterisk on because it's not the same. Am I missing this wrong?
No, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's as big of a deal. Like I think, I mean, 14, yeah, but like 16 to 17, not as much.
Just another game.
Well, right. But I mean, how many games?
Now, for example, doesn't Derek Jeter have a Major League Baseball playoff record for something hits or something that goes on? And people are like, well, you know what? Babe and, Mickey Mantle get the opportunity. Well, they added more games. So should there be an asterisk? But I don't know.
So I have okay.
I don't know.
We'll continue this discussion because I have a couple of different layers with this. 615-737-1025, Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 1025, 1063 The Game. Tomorrow, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the Preds game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Predators home game. You can participate with Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow morning at 8:45. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, discussing records and the NFL. So we know that Mahomes is not going to play this weekend. Carson Wentz will get the start for the Chiefs and the Broncos. If the Broncos win that game, they're in the playoffs. They have to win. They are a double-digit favorite because Kansas City is not going to play anybody. The Bengals need the Broncos and the Dolphins to lose, and they need to win. If that happens, then they're in. So a lot of different scenarios coming up for this weekend when it comes to the playoffs. But we were talking about records, and should there be an asterisk, with anything, if something changes and Saquon ends up playing and he breaks the record, I guess my question has been, you're adding games. Okay, I get it. You probably do need to note that, but it's also a different era. Like, I think the backs are better. I think the defenses are better. So does that make what OJ did more impressive or less impressive? Or
I love you. Disagree with you. I think time.
I'm asking.
Evolves.
I'm not giving it. I'm asking you.
I think time evolves with how the game is. The game is OJ did it in 1973. The game has changed in 51 years. Obviously, we understand that. But at the time, what was 73 like?
Yeah.
I mean, you did 14 games. Now, OJ did it 332 carries. Saquon 345. So now I'm an asterisk guy, but somebody says, what about less carry? But is it know that you've got 16, 17 games, you can spread that out? Whereas OJ had to jam all that in at one time. I don't know.
Well, they ran the ball a lot more back in the 70s than they do now.
Barry Sanders ran for 2,053 yards on 335 carries. 3 carries more than OJ, but he also had 2 more games. So I don't know, but I think it needs to be reflective, like what happens. If Saquon did that in 17 games, I think to me, just you got to denote history, right? Here's what it wasn't the same all the way around. By the way, do you know how many guys have rushed for more than 2,000 yards
in the NFL?
In the NFL,
9.
Good job, buddy.
OJ.
Okay,
he was the first.
Correct.
Eric Dickerson.
Yep.
Barry Sanders.
3.
Jamal Lewis.
4.
Adrian Peterson.
5.
Chris Johnson.
6.
Who's after Chris? With Derrick Henry.
7. You got
Saquon,
2 left, baby.
Saquon Barkley.
8. One more.
Who am I forgetting?
And I disagree with this guy being in the Hall of Fame too.
Oh, Terrell Davis.
Adam, good job, buddy. You got 9 of them. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I knew I was missing one in the order.
Now, of all those, Terrell Davis had 392 carries.
I mean, they fed him
2000. Well, speaking of fed, Chris Johnson was fed the ball by Jeff Fisher in 2009. Those last 3 or 4 games.
Right, because there was nothing to play for.
And Chris would have had more, but they called back a BS 80-yard touchdown run on a phantom hold.
He would have broken the record, right? Or come real close to it.
Well, he had 2006. You take that away, he had close to 2,100. It'd have been number 2. I'm sorry, Dickerson had 2,105. That was what he had.
But I remember that they took like an 80-yard run away that would have put him pretty close. But like we've talked to Jeff Fisher about it. They knew they weren't making the playoffs. And that was what they were playing for.
He said we wanted to win. We wanted Chris to get the record.
Yeah.
So,
and he did.
How does this translate again for baseball, for home run, for basketball, games played? I don't know. I think it should be somewhat noted that, look, here it wasn't the same. It's not always been uniform across the board to get things done. But I like the decision for Saquon not to play. There's nothing in it for him on Sunday. Nothing in it for him on Sunday to play. They've already made the playoffs. Rest. Let somebody else do it. Now, you brought the point about Carson Wentz playing. I want to see him play.
Yeah.
Because the last time we saw him was against the Titans in 22. That was awful.
Yeah.
He was an awful quarterback.
I
Awful.
want to see what a year with Andy Reid has done, because I'm curious about that. It's interesting when talking about the 2,000-yard club and the 9 that are on that list. You know, Jamal Lewis and Chris Johnson are not going to be in the Hall of Fame. They are not Hall of Famers. They had, you know, good years, but they're not Hall of Famers. Everybody else either is in or will get in.
Yes. Yep. And of the
Well, Saquon, I don't know. I mean,
of the 8, because we're not counting Saquon, only one won a Super Bowl, the team that year.
Terrell Davis.
And MVP, OJ, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis, Adrian Peterson were MVPs of the league then. I don't think Saquon, I think he should be up there. I don't think he sniffs MVP.
No, because it's a quarterback award now. Anyway.
It is.
Lamar's gonna. I think Lamar's gonna win.
I'm looking at Joe, not Josh Allen's good, but what Joe Burrow has done. Holy cow!
So something I heard, and I can't remember where I heard this. I think it was NFL Network. I was watching the NFL Network, and they were having this debate, and they said, no, it was ESPN, and they said, well, co-MVP. They have not done that since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, can sit here and argue that till the cows come home, as they like to say here in the South. But I if ever there was an argument for it, it might be this year. And to me, it would be, I mean, I hear what you're saying about Joe Burrow, but to me, it would be Lamar and Josh Allen. Could you see an argument for it this year of a co-MVP?
Yeah, I absolutely could.
I mean, I'm
not a fan.
I didn't like it in 2003 because, you know, obviously there's some bias here. I thought McNair deserved it in his own right, but they went with Peyton Manning and Steve McNair that year. But I'd be curious if they would do that again. That's the only time they've ever done it, and they haven't done it since. So I'd be very curious if this is the year where they look and they go, man, you know, they both deserve it.
And some have like, well, they shouldn't vote until after the season's over with. I think that clouds your mind. I think it's a regular season.
It's a regular season award.
I'm trying to go back and see if any Oiler had won the MVP throughout history besides Earl Campbell won it in 79. He won the AP, which is the MVP.
Well, so what is it you were looking at?
Any more Oilers have in their franchise history have won the MVP.
So it's just McNair and Earl Campbell.
There is for us old folks, and one year a kicker was the MVP.
Yeah, that was Redskins, right?
Good job, buddy. Mark Mosley.
84?
82.
82, the strike year.
Yep, 82. Mark Mosley was the MVP for that as well. So there you go. There's a lot of history being weighed on that.
Michael wants to weigh in real quick on Saquon Barkley. Michael, what's up?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
So I think we can all agree that right now that Barkley is the offensive player of the year.
Correct.
But if Derrick Henry gets to 2,000 this week, I know it's a lot. He's at 1,780 or something right now with 40 less carries than Saquon. If he gets to 2,000 with just a couple less carries than Saquon, he's got more touchdowns already. Does Derrick have an argument for being offensive player of the year over Saquon, even though he had one more game but less carries to do so?
It's a great question.
That is a great question. He's at thanks for the call, Michael. 305, 1,783, 14 touchdowns. Let's see. What did Saquon do touchdown wise? 13. Wow, they're right there together. Man, that's a good question. He'd have to do it in less carries. I mean, I don't think they're giving him the ball 40 times.
Who's Baltimore play? Cincinnati or Cleveland on this weekend?
Cleveland, I think.
Okay. I don't know, but let's wait and see what he does to see if he can do it. I mean,
would you play him though?
Aren't they up for division? If they,
oh yeah, the division is still on the line for them.
I believe Derrick Henry also needs one touchdown for a contract incentive. So
give it to him.
Yeah,
because
this game's Saturday too. So it's at Baltimore against Cleveland. I mean, I don't think he's getting to 2,000 because I think Baltimore's probably going to have this one in the bag by half, and then Harbaugh's going to start pulling guys. But I don't know. That's interesting.
Derrick Henry needs one touchdown for $500,000.
Yeah, well, I think I feel pretty good that they're going to give him that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He will get that.
Yep.
Here's the other thing. John Harbaugh pays attention to that stuff. So he is big, for those bettors out there that like to bet incentives or bet based on incentives. John Harbaugh is always very cognizant of that, of who's up for what, and he's going to make sure that his guys get it.
Now, I've got no problem with him getting a touchdown, the individual award, because a touchdown does what? Puts
Helps the
points.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. There
Yeah.
you go.
It helps you. It helps the team. We'll talk about this and much more with John McClain, HoustonTexans.com. He will join us coming up next. Chasing Big Joe on a Thursday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Thursday. Happy New Year. Hope you're having a great start to your new year. We're joined now by the great John McClain. HoustonTexans.com is where you can find his work. And, of course, the Texans come into town this weekend to take on the Oilers, as the Titans will wear the Oilers uniforms. Good morning, John. Happy New Year.
Good morning, guys. Happy New Year.
I'm
still trying to figure out what targeting is because I don't give a rat's, what about this game Sunday because it's meaningless and the standings. But after watching one of the worst non-calls in my 60 years of watching football, I'm still trying to figure out what it is. And anyway, in case you guys can ask me, nobody down here cares anymore about the Oilers uniforms like they did last year. I've seen a few fans older, like in my age bracket, that still upset. Players don't care. Titans want to win. Paul Karski had a great column yesterday about how far a victory could drop them down in the first round for picking. And the Texans have been so bad lately. It wouldn't surprise me if they lose and then lose the first round game to either the Steelers or the Chargers, which means they would close what was a promising season with 4 consecutive losses.
Ooh, well, I'm going to tell you this because I've watched the Titans specifically for a long time. I think the Titans are going to win this weekend. It wouldn't shock me one bit at all if that ended up being the case. Is Houston planning to play everybody?
DeMeco Ryans, when he said everybody will play, and he is not a person who gives away anything. He said everybody will play, and then we'll see how it goes. Well, that means they can play a quarter, a half. And I tell you, they got some guys that need time off, beginning with C.J. Stroud, who's been banged up from getting sacked so much and hit so much. But they played on a Wednesday. On Christmas Day, they got just obliterated by the Ravens. So it's like they had a long layoff. It's not like they need more time off. It's not like they played Sunday. So I think he'll play the starters some. How long? Depends on how they play. This offense has been terrible. Not just mediocre. It's been terrible. Can't run. And like the Titans exposed the running game last time, they just totally shut it down. And everybody's played them the same way, and they haven't been able to adjust. If the Titans win, it won't shock me. It shocked me when they came in here and hammered the Texans from the get-go by scoring on their first 3 possessions.
We're talking to the great John McClain on the Chase and Big Joe show. John, your thoughts on Brian Callahan swapping Will Levis and Mason Rudolph throughout the game? Both quarterbacks are going to play a lot. I've been around football a long time. So have you. I've never met a head coach who likes playing 2 quarterbacks. Whose decision do you think this is to start and play 2 quarterbacks on Sunday?
Well, first, if you guys up there think Amy Adams Strunk does a lot more than she does, that's strictly up to Brian Callahan. It's in his contract, I'm sure. He controls the game day roster like other coaches' contracts. There's no need to play them both. Victory, and I think I would definitely play Levis. Doesn't serve any purpose to play Mason Rudolph at this point of the season. We all know they need a quarterback, and if they don't screw this up, they'll have a chance to get one. And don't buy any of this BS from the experts that's a bad quarterback draft. Because I'll guarantee you, by the time they go through Senior Bowl workouts, Combine, Pro Day, and private workouts, plus their lunches and dinners with the prospects, there's going to be some quarterbacks who are highly rated. And there's going to be somebody that comes out of nowhere, just skyrockets up. And last year, everybody was saying Bo Nix wasn't going to be a first-round pick, and look what's happened to him. So there will be a quarterback out there the Titans can draft, or if they win this game, they may have to trade up to get him. And if they don't get a quarterback next year, can you imagine how unexcited everybody's going to be about that season?
Absolutely. John, what is, and you know this, what's the relationship between the Adamses and the McNairs? Because the lady McNair down in Houston, you know, about the uniforms and about playing the Titans. And of course, we know how important, you know, beating Houston was to Bud, and I'm sure it is for Amy. But what's their relationship like, if you know that at all?
I don't think they have a relationship. You know, Hannah McNair's been outspoken about the uniforms. Her husband, Cal, is not. You know, he doesn't care about that kind of stuff. But Hannah does. Amy does. And I don't think Amy wants to beat the Texans as bad as Bud used to, because Bud never could understand fully why taxpayers would give a new stadium to Bob McNair and wouldn't give it to him based on all those decades that he had owned the Oilers. And Amy's in much better standing than her dad. And especially, I've never seen, I think I told you guys this, and I know a lot of hard work went in behind the scenes, but from afar, I've never seen a team get a stadium pushed through quicker and smoother than the Titans have done with that new dome stadium that I will be really eager to see.
I tell you this too, John. We were there for we were at Nissan Stadium for the Music City Bowl earlier this week, and I could not believe how far along that stadium is. I mean, they have made a big dent in that thing. So, are you coming this weekend?
No, one of the reasons I retired from the Houston Chronicle is I got tired of traveling. I cover home games and I cover the road games off TV, and it's so much more advantageous watching games on TV to cover them. I can see everything so much better. And then they have interviews on their YouTube channel. So I like the arrangement.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have more with John McClain coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 1025, 1063 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Thursday, continuing our discussion with John McClain. HoustonTexans.com is where you can find his work. So, John, looking at this final weekend, we know there's some coaches that are going to be coaching their final game with their team. I think it's safe to say that Doug Peterson will be coaching his final game with the Jaguars. Who knows what Jerry's going to do down in Dallas. We know the Bears, they're already open. The Saints are already open, a few others. But I am curious about some of these bubble playoff teams. Do you think that Mike McDaniel and Zach Taylor with the Dolphins and Bengals, respectively, are they coaching for their jobs?
Absolutely not. Both those guys are highly regarded offensive coaches. It's not Zach Taylor's fault that the Brown family won't pay defensive players. Lou Anarumo all of a sudden looks like a bad defensive coordinator. Last year and the year before, he was considered one of the best. Mike McDaniel's got a quarterback who I think I read, too, is averaging like 11 games a season. He's been out twice now. That's not McDaniel's fault. So, no, those guys are not. The one I'm the most curious about, and you mentioned him, Chase, that would be Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Every time Jerry Jones talks, he acts like he's looking for a reason to keep McCarthy. And I know the fans and the media will go ballistic if they bring him back, but you've got players speaking out on his behalf. I don't know if Jerry's going to pay attention to that or not, but the fact of the matter is Mike McCarthy could be back, and even if they fire him, who's he going to bring in? How many people are going to want to work for Jerry Jones? There's always somebody out there that's desperate, and it is America's team and the most high-profile team in the NFL. But, man, you got to approach it as buyer beware.
I found it very interesting when I was watching Sunday morning ESPN's pregame show, and Rex Ryan is on that panel, and he has been mentioned that he's interviewing with the Jets to potentially go back to the Jets. And they were talking about the Cowboys job, and some of those guys made the exact same point you just did. And he even said, look, I'm not going to turn it down. It's a job. I want to get back in, but I'd probably rather have the Jets job at this point. That's pretty telling that a guy that, has been out for a while that wants to get back in recognizes just how difficult of a job that is because of the owner / GM.
Well, the fact is Rex is desperate to be a head coach again. He did a great job when he first started off with the Jets. They eliminated the Patriots in the playoffs. They did a tremendous job. And then when he had Mark Sanchez those first 2 years, and I thought when he went to Buffalo, he was the ideal coach for the Bills, and that didn't work out. But he's got a platform where he can certainly make a case for himself and hope that owners are watching.
Okay, so real quick on a couple of jobs that I'm curious about, because somebody asked me about this, and I even said I will ask John. Do you think the Colts could be a potential, and could Irsay clean house? Because it hasn't worked with the quarterback to this point with Anthony Richardson. They're 7-9. They're out of the playoffs. Could Irsay just decide that it's time to get rid of Chris Ballard and ultimately clean house?
I don't see it. I think that Irsay is capable of making any kind of decision. It might surprise us, it might not, but I do not see him walking away after 2 years with Shane Steichen. And I'm also interested, and we'll never know, how much did Irsay want Anthony Richardson?
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love with the guy because he looked great in shorts and a T-shirt. But no, I do not expect him gone. The only team in the division will look for a job. Everybody expects it'll be Jacksonville.
We're talking to the great John McClain on the Chasing Big Joe show here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. John, just a pure football fan, getting to watch Detroit and Minnesota Sunday night battle out for the number one seed. I mean, this is about as perfect as it could get for football, I think. What do you think?
I'm with you, Joe, exactly. Number one seed or the number 5 seed. It's just so much riding on that game. Two teams, never been a division team that had two teams with that many victories, two quarterbacks playing great who should be in the running for MVP, but they're not going to be in the top two. and I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun going forward with that. Let me get your thoughts, John. We were watching. We're big Arthur Smith fans around here. Do you think if Vrabel gets a head coaching job, he takes Arthur Smith with him, or do you think Arthur Smith likes it being in Pittsburgh, where he's pretty much got total control of whatever he wants to do?
I think Art could get some looks.
Yeah, I think that the way the Steelers have played lately, losing 3 in a row, Russell Wilson's turned into the quarterback we all thought he was going to be. I don't think Smith will get a head coaching job after 1 year as a coordinator, unless a guy like Mike wanted to hire him. And I can't wait to see where Mike goes and who he wants to hire as his offensive coordinator. But I would think he knows Arthur Smith so well. If he thinks Arthur's the guy, maybe he'd reach out. And I can't imagine the Steelers ownership would make him stay if he had a chance to leave.
John, is Mike Vrabel the lead domino? I mean, once he goes, other things start to fall. Is he the one everybody's looking at?
He's the one everybody's looking at, who's been a former head coach. Ben Johnson, the Detroit offensive coordinator, is the one everyone is looking at. It's interesting because when you look at coordinators, there's a guy like Ben Johnson, everybody knows, who stands out. And he better take one of those jobs this year, because all it would take is a couple of key injuries, especially Jared Goff, where he wouldn't be such a hot property. But I think it's interesting the way Pete Carroll's trying to get his foot back in. Rex Ryan, we're talking about guys who've been to multiple playoffs as opposed to a guy who has not been a head coach. But I've never seen so many former coaches that want to be in the running.
John McClain is with us. Is there a chance in your mind that Robert Kraft reverses course and goes with the guy that many thought he was going to go with all along and gets rid of Mayo after 1 year and hires Mike Vrabel?
I don't think so, because Kraft loved Mayo. Everybody had said for years that he was going to be a head coach. He was being lined up to take the place of Bill Belichick. It just happened before everybody thought. And remember, Kraft reached out there and signed him himself. And they've got a quarterback. They've got if they get the top pick, what a great position for them, since they'll be able to trade down to a team that wants a quarterback and help them get some pieces. So I do not think that Gerard Mayo is going to be fired after one season. That just doesn't seem to be the way the Krafts operate. Although a lot of people would like to see Vrabel come back, he would have his quarterback in place. That would be a very enticing job, as opposed to like the Jets. I also think Jacksonville, because there's no pressure, it's low key. That's going to be a great situation. But Mike Vrabel, as you guys know, he doesn't back down. Pressure wouldn't be why he turned down a job like the Jets or the Patriots if he had that opportunity, or the Bears.
Is there going to be a surprise opening this year? Like, if the Chiefs win it all, does Andy retire? Does the Rams finally open because McVay's just done? Like, could you see a surprise, or do you think we kind of have an idea?
There's going to be a surprise. There usually is. It won't be the Rams, and it won't be Andy Reid. Not sure who it'll be. It could be like one of the two we just talked about. It'll be somebody where you go, wow. And say Mike McDaniel, a guy like that. I don't expect it, but most of the time there is a surprise coaching change, like last year with Pete Carroll, for example.
I don't see Brian Callahan getting fired here, but I do think Amy's going to make some changes. Could you see that?
I don't see Amy Adams Strunk making changes. I think Rand Cawthorn's in charge of everything, and she talks to him. But she's not going to be dictating, I want this coordinator fired. I'm guessing the special teams coach will be gone. That's just from afar. But, until they get their quarterback in place, they're just going to be spinning their wheels.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think Carthon's gone. I think she moves on from him and makes Chad Brinker the GM and everything. That's what I think is going to happen.
Does Chad Brinker have a football background?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the more of an analytics role. That's why they brought him in. But I mean, when he was with Green Bay, he was with Green Bay a long time, and then what he's done here. So he does, but I just, it has the makings, and I've kind of heard some rumblings that could be what happens, that somebody's going to pay for how this season is gone, and I think it's going to be Carthon.
Well, I'd be stunned if she fired Grant Carthon 1 year after giving him all that control. Maybe she will, but I'll be really surprised. And when you're going to name a GM, doesn't mean they'll be any good, but you better have somebody that's got a personnel background and knows what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. John, appreciate it as always. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next week.
Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it always, and enjoy the college games, the NFL games, and especially that big Texans-Titans game.
Oh, yes.
Johnny.
John,
Take care.
see you,
See ya,
John.
pal.
John McClain joining us on the program as he does every week, and oh, what a game it's going to be.
It is. We're going to revisit our question we had at the beginning of the show. If you are a Tennessee and Vandy fan, are you rooting for Georgia tonight? If you are, why? If you are, why not? And the SEC fan as a whole, are you rooting for Georgia? If your favorite team is Auburn or Alabama or somebody else, I want to know why you're rooting for Georgia. Let us know, 615-737-1025.
It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. All right, Dr. Crane bringing it today. By the way, I was looking at Chasing Big Joe. I was looking at songs that are like turning 50 or turning 40 this year.
Don't
and
do
it's
that.
just crazy, man.
Don't do that.
Just feel old.
No,
Like-
don't do that.
The year 2000 was 25 years ago.
We are closer to 2050 than we were to 2000.
That's
right
true.
now.
Yeah, you're right.
So thanks for doing that to me.
It's just the
Okay.
world spins fast.
Chase, let our great listeners know what we have at 3:00 today.
3:00, the Sugar Bowl will be on these airwaves. Jared's going to go 2 to 3.
Good.
And then you can hear the Sugar Bowl starting at 3 on both here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and on 94.9 The Fan. George is not going to do his show today as well, so you can hear it on both stations. So we look forward to having that as they move the game, rightfully so, because of everything that happened yesterday. So you can hear that between Georgia and Notre Dame starting at 3:00.
Yeah, we asked a question of who you're rooting for tonight. If you're an SEC fan, you're rooting for Georgia. And I got to tell you, about half our responses is like,
It is kind of 50-50.
I hate Notre Dame. I hate Georgia. What do I do? I don't know. But if you're specifically an SEC fan, are you rooting for Georgia? Now, we could have done this question yesterday about Texas, but now we do it about Georgia. Are you rooting for Georgia? Now, if you're a Tennessee or Vanderbilt fan, an overwhelming majority who like Tennessee say they want Georgia to lose. And I'm with you, man. You don't want your rival to win big games. You don't.
No, you don't. But here's the thing for me. I'm thrilled over the moon with the season that Vanderbilt had. And I love hearing Diego Pavia like, well, we want more, we want championships. And like him saying, going into that game, telling his teammates and his coaches, I don't lose. We're not going to lose this today. Like, I love that. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to run through a wall. Tonight, I want a good football game.
Yeah.
I hate Notre Dame probably as much as I hate Georgia, but I just want to see a good football game.
Georgia's never lost to Notre Dame. I'm reading this.
Really?
Have never lost to Notre Dame. They played a couple years ago up in South Bend when Georgia fans took over Wrigley Field on that Friday, and
That's
then
right.
Saturday they took over South Bend, and I think they played in the Sugar Bowl years ago, and they've never lost. So
You know what's funny? None of that matters at all because those teams are so different.
of course, but we like history, man.
Sure, of course we do. But I always laugh when they're like in the series, this team has beaten them this amount of times. I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. These are completely different teams now.
Of course it is, but I still like it. The fact that they've never done that or done something with that, so I think it's still kind of cool.
I think Georgia wins. I do think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. I think Georgia wins to set up Georgia Penn State. And then ultimately, I believe it's going to be Georgia Ohio State in the championship game.
How do you all this traveling, man? If you're a Penn State fan, then you got to go now to Tempe, to Dallas, but I guess they probably don't care.
Now, see, this is what I'm curious about. Do people want the all SEC matchup with Georgia Texas? Do they want the all Big Ten matchup with Penn State Ohio State, which is a historic Big Ten matchup?
Right.
Do you want the what everybody thought could be a Big Ten matchup, Notre Dame Ohio State? I'm curious of is there a matchup people are rooting for?
January the 1st, 1981, Georgia knocks off Notre Dame 17-10, led by freshman running back Herschel Walker, as he knocked off Notre Dame to win the national championship at the Superdome.
Let me ask you another question,
Yeah, buddy.
because you're such a historic, college football guy.
Yeah.
Should the season be over? Should the season be over on January 1st? It's going to January 20th because of the playoff.
Yeah, but it's hard to fit everything in.
I know. But I mean, like, I thought about that last night of like, man, there was so many times that it was January 1. It's done.
Isn't Ole Miss playing today?
Are they?
It's 6:30, I believe, against Duke.
Yeah, and the Gator Bowl.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It got flexed. It was supposed to be today at 3, I believe.
And they moved it
And they
because
moved
of the
Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't know why the day after. I think all meaningless bowl games should be played before January the 1st.
Well, that's what they're trying to do with this bowl games is they're trying to get the main games that matter of January
Can
the
we air that?
1st. and the 31st, and then you have, those
Right.
bowl games that don't matter on the 2nd and so forth.
I don't. Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, why? Because like one year the Birmingham Bowl is like January the 4th. That might have been the year Vanderbilt played in the Birmingham Bowl versus Houston. They had on January the 4th. I was like, why are you playing that after nobody? I mean, after New Year's Day, nobody really cares except your fan base. But now with the college football playoffs, I think you can't condense it within 3 weeks of December.
There's bowl games tomorrow.
Who's tomorrow?
I forgot all about this stuff. All right, so you got the Gator Bowl tonight,
Okay.
Duke Ole Miss, and then there are 2 games tomorrow at 3:00. The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl between North Texas and Texas State in Dallas, and then the Duke's Mayo Bowl between Minnesota and Virginia Tech.
Really?
And then Saturday you got the Bahamas Bowl, Buffalo Liberty, and then that's it for those bowls.
Those bowl games right there. That's I get the Bahamas Bowl on a weekend. That's fine. But the other ones, man, yeah, I don't.
I'll probably watch the Gator Bowl because
We also have the FCS National Championship on Monday.
that is
at
Monday
6
night.
o'clock.
Yeah, that'll be
Montana versus North Dakota State.
Montana State, North
Montana
Dakota
State.
State.
all those teams make it there. But Duke lost their quarterback too to the portal. I saw him play against MTSU. He was good. Liberty lost their quarterback. I saw him play against MTSU. He was good.
So I'm when Nick Saban becomes the college football commissioner, like James Franklin says he should, I think he should make a rule that the portal does not open until after the championship.
I think that's going to happen.
I think if ever there was anything that needed to change, like, and I'm kind of starting to lean towards you and let's go back to signing day being after instead of the early signing day. But the portal should not open. Now a guy can decide, hey, I'm going to enter it and he can opt out, whatever. But I think the portal should not open until after the championship game is played.
I'm with you, but remember,
It can be the next day.
the portal applies to all the FCS schools. Half the schools don't get to the bowl game. I mean, so there's like, all right, we're going to sit around and wait the same time.
Right.
So I get it because it's caused a little chaos in there. But at the same time, it's allowed these other players to kind of step up. Who's Duke starting at quarterback?
I don't know. But the fact that Tennessee, and I'm not making an excuse for Tennessee, but had 2 receivers already in the portal when they're in a playoff game and they were thin at receiver, which that's kind of an interesting story. But that to me, I was like, that's when it hit me where I'm like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. But again, I don't blame them for trying to get what they think they're worth.
Yeah, I don't either.
It sucks as a fan.
Right.
I hate it.
But
But for these kids doing that, I don't mind
but
it.
but what's 3 weeks? What difference does that make?
I'm with you, man. on
Like,
that.
just let the season be done. Like, there are NFL teams that are going to be done this weekend. They can't make
well, the
free
goal
agent
is
signings and trades and
Well,
stuff until after the Super
the
Bowl.
goal is to get them in class in January. That's why you have to do it.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
why you have to do it, and you have to do it with that problem. So coaches now know what to do. That's why I think you get 10 coaches. You might need to expand 2 position coaches. We talked about Barton Simmons. They had one of the first GMs in football, director of football ops, to go out and do it. I think you'll have a whole department for that, where teams don't worry. If you're a bowl game, don't worry about that. It's just ever changing, man, and there's no correct answer.
You probably have, I don't know how many coaches in your phone, right?
Yeah.
Numbers of coaches.
Oh, yeah.
If you texted 20 of them, I guarantee you 19 would say, yeah, open it after the championship game. If you ask them, should they move the transfer portal to open after the championship game, I bet you 99%
I'm
would
with you.
say yes.
Yeah, but it's not because you're not going to happen. You got to get in school and everything else. But I mean, but again, I look at it this way: Duke quarterback's out, somebody steps up. Liberty quarterback's out, somebody steps up.
We saw it Iowa. I mean, Iowa's wasn't he like the third string guy?
Yep.
I mean, he looked pretty good. 615-737-1025. Eric wants to weigh in real quick. What's up, Eric?
Hey guys, a couple of things. Actually, guys, I was talking about you were going back to like the 16-game schedule asterisk stuff, which I understand. And by the way, the 16-game schedule started in 1978.
Okay.
The year before, of course, the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. That was 20% rookie year. That was also the same year in '78 they added an extra playoff team. because it used to be just 4. That year they went to 5 because at the NFC the wild card game was the Falcons against the Eagles. So they added a wild card that next year. So yeah, 16 games started in 1978. They just, of course, took 2 preseason games from 77 and put them into the regular season. That's how it went to 16.
Okay.
And also, as far as Mike Tomlin, guys, I agree he should not be fired. He's a great coach, but it's interesting. Pittsburgh, he's, of course, been there every year, had to win the season. The Rooney family stable organization. But if he was head coach of the Eagles, he would have already been fired. Conversely, in Philadelphia, even though it's the state of Pennsylvania, because I'm wondering if they regret getting rid of Andy Reid because they said he wasn't winning enough for it. And that's what he's doing again. It's just hilarious.
But Mike Tomlin has not won a playoff game since 2016.
Well, that's true. That's true. But the Rooney family is known
right?
for not doing that. That's the thing. But I agree. If he was in Philadelphia, he would have been gone, guys. So
Gone.
and also I'm hoping that the weather's not as bad Sunday as they're saying it's going to be. I plan to be at the game Sunday. Not only that, I'm wearing a Christmas present that my brother had specially custom made, designed for me, a Tennessee Titans poncho.
Oh,
Love
He
it.
had specially designed for me during the Christmas holidays. I'm just hoping the weather's not bad because if it is, I'll probably have to skip it. And if I can't wear it then, I'll have to wait till next year.
Watch out now.
All right, guys. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
You
All right,
too.
buddy.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Coming up next, we will tell you. First one of the year. I cannot wait for this. What day is it? And celebrity birthdays. And I have a question to ask Joe before we do celebrity birthdays. Just throwing something out there. You take it under advisement, but I'm curious.
Okay.
Something. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe here on this Thursday. Tune in to 93.3 Totally Hits. Totally Nashville tonight as MTSU basketball is in action. They take on FIU. They open the conference schedule at the Murphy Center. Tip off at 6 with the pregame beginning at 5:30. You can also hear coverage on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. And also Vandy women's basketball. They're in action tonight on 94.9 The Fan. They will take on Georgia at Memorial Gym at 6:30. A tip-off with 6:15 pregame. You can also listen on 94.9 The Fan app and the 94.9thefan.com. Vanderbilt women's basketball is presented by Athletes Unlimited. Pro basketball coming to Nashville Municipal Auditorium February 5th through March 2nd. You can go to auprobasketball.com for more details and to purchase tickets. All right, so here's my question on celebrity birthdays. Now that we're in a new year, should we do season standings? Should we make this a season competition?
Yeah,
Between
I think,
myself
Not a bad
and
idea.
Dr. Crane.
yep, and we should do weekly starting next
Or
week.
weekly?
Yep,
Yeah, we can make
and
it.
whoever loses has to donate $1,000 to their favorite charity
I'm gonna
weekly.
look. I love charities.
Right.
I know what he makes, and I know what I make, and I know that's not gonna work.
You could do like a smaller amount, maybe.
Okay. Maybe spend a whole weekend.
Look,
volunteering.
there's something there, and I'm willing to do
Okay.
something there, but I
we'll
don't.
figure it out.
Yeah. So
I
all right.
like it. Starting Monday.
weekly standings. We
I'm
good?
okay with that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list for the new year, we have 55 miles per hour speed limit day. So if you're going 55, just stay at that speed limit.
I want you to do 55 around Nashville. You get yelled at, you get honked at,
You get run over.
flipped off, you get run over. Yeah, that doesn't work around our city. But
I
thanks.
look. We opened the show talking about our fine men and women of law enforcement. I will admit this to you right now. I looked down at my speedometer when I was on 440 this morning. I was doing 75, which is 20 over.
Damn it, Chase.
If I was not doing that, I would have gotten run over. So,
Not wrong.
That's what it is.
I mean, I don't even know why we have the 55 speed limit anymore.
I'm with you, man.
Nobody follows.
It's just suggestion. You know. Next we have is Happy New Year for Cats Day.
Oh,
So,
New Year? Oh, nice.
New Year.
My friend John Luke just got 2 new kittens that he adopted from the shelter. So
good for him. Good
shout out to
job.
cats.
Yeah. Shout out to John Luke.
Yeah, that's right.
Good for him. Next we have National Motivation and Inspirational Day.
Get off
So-
your butt. Go to the gym.
There's your inspiration for the day. Joe Doom.
No,
Go to
you
the
yelled
gym.
at me. I won't do it.
Go to the gym. Go to the gym.
After that, it kind of follows the same thing Joe's saying here. National Personal Trainer Awareness Day. So if you have a
Amen.
personal trainer, she can help you out.
Yep.
With your New Year's resolution, I guess. Let's see. This one's a little odd. National Run It Up the Flagpole and See If Anybody Salutes It Day. So basically, if you have a flag of Chase McCabe, see if anybody salutes it. I don't know.
What if we just put you up the flagpole?
It isn't running up
It's a
the
little cold.
flagpole like an old word or phrase for like, hey, just ask the boss, see what they say, move it up. I thought that's
Oh, yeah,
that was
running
an
up
old,
the-
run up the old flagpole.
I think that is another form
Okay,
of that. But next we have is National Science Fiction Day.
Love some science
Boo,
fiction.
nerds.
Swiss Cheese Day is next.
Okay.
And let's see, World Introvert Day. And to
Ah, my
top
day.
it all off, we have National Buffet Day and National Cream Puff Day. So
Haven't we just had a cream puff day?
I don't know.
Oh,
believe
it was
that
cream,
was
never
cream
mind.
pie.
Cream pie.
Cream pie day. National cream pie day.
Did
Yeah.
you imagine having a buffet of cream puffs?
Yeah, or cream pies, right?
That
E-
too.
easy back there, Derek. I hear you.
All right, time for celebrity birthdays. You have to get these within 2 years. Our first birthday is making me feel really old. How old is Gabrielle Gutierrez? She played Andrea Zuckerman on 90210. How old is Gabrielle Gutierrez?
53.
61.
She is 64
Good
years
grief.
old today, and she played a high school student 30 years ago.
My goodness.
She's 64. The beautiful actress Tia Carrera. Today's her birthday.
What is she in?
Was she in Wayne's World? Wasn't she in Wayne's
Was she the
World
main
2?
girl?
In Wayne's World 2, yep.
Not the gun rack girl, but okay, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. 54.
49.
58. The beautiful model Christy Turlington.
37.
50.
56. Actor Taye Diggs.
53.
54.
54 exactly. Dr. Crane's up.
Damn you and your press.
The very funny Dax Shepard.
48.
53.
He is 50. 2-1. Dr. Crane's on top. Down here, don't know who that is. Never heard of her. Actress Kate Bosworth.
45.
42.
42 exactly. Dr. Crane's up 4-1. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr.
57.
53.
57 exactly. Dr. Crane's up 4-3. I like this. Lead singer of Hoobastank, Doug Robb.
54.
57.
50. Musician Trombone Shorty.
47.
50.
39. Get a little help back there, don't
Yeah,
you?
there will be no help.
They're shouting. I have both ears over, so I can't hear anything.
I hear you. David Jones.
Hopefully he's not in a closet somewhere. Craig James, former ESPN. You know the story. You were laughing. Craig James.
65.
60.
63. Chase has tied it up at 4. Former New York Mets pitcher David Cone.
55.
58.
61. Edgar Martinez.
62.
65.
61. Chasers up 5-4. He was down 4-1. He's battled back. 2 left. Former Detroit Lions quarterback, former Miami Dolphin quarterback, former Utah Utes quarterback, Scott Mitchell, the big left-hander, who spent most of his time handing off to Barry Sanders.
58.
62.
56. Chase up 6-4. Dr. Crane, you're within striking distance, but see what happens. NHL goaltender Brian Boucher, he holds the record for longest shutout streak in the NHL as a goalie. How old is Brian Boucher?
45.
46.
He's 47, but Chase McCabe wins 6-5.
Good battle.
Almost every game comes down to the final one. So well done, girls.
That was a good battle. Hey, thanks so much for participating with us. Look, 2024 was a great year. You made it known that you love this show, and we love you and appreciate everything. 2025 is going to be even better. New year, same us.
There you go.
We're not going to change.
We're going to amp it up, our mental health this year. Real quick, you don't mind turning the music down for 1 second, Dr. Crane? I need the floor for just 45 seconds. There's a guy that committed suicide last week in Murfreesboro, and it's really devastated the community in Rutherford County. Good man, everything. And on his Facebook page, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments saying how great he was and they miss him. If you're stuck somewhere and you're going through something and you're thinking about doing that and going that far, know there are people that love you, that absolutely love you. And if something happened to you, we talk about it all the time, you'll be tremendously missed and your void is not filled. All right. That's why we tell you that we love you and more importantly, that God loves you and people out there to help you. If you're going through anything on your cell phone or you can text or call 988, please reach out to us. We talked to a lot of guys in 24 that are doing well. We're always here for you. All right. We don't take this lightly. This is something that's passionate for us, for our show. We love you guys and want you, if you're going through anything, please reach out to us. I don't want to go to your Facebook page and leave a note how much I loved you in the past tense. I want it to be the present tense. So in 25, we're doubling down on this for mental health for our men out there. Know that we love you. You are tremendously loved. If something happened to you, you'll be tremendously missed. We love you and know that God loves you more than anything else. Thank you.
Well said, my friend, as always. And that is very, very true. That is going to do it for us. DVD is coming up next. Peace, love, rock and roll. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 9. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.